Hello, Creative Cooks. Welcome or welcome back to another episode of the Creative Phoebe Cooks channel. I'm your host, Phoebe, and today we will be making a few of our own ingredients to make our recipes go from good to wow. And they include a luscious walnut sunflower milk, a gluten-free oat flour, and the creamiest mixed nut butter you've ever tasted with no oil added. Watch this episode till the very end because I'll be sharing vital information on each of these ingredients and a few creative ways you can use them. As always, find a full recipe and directions on my blog using one of the links in the description box below. Feel free to pin them on Pinterest so you can find them all in one place. And with that, let's start making our own ingredients in voiceover mode. Our luscious walnut sunflower milk is first on the list. For this milk blend, we'll opt for a raw and unsalted walnuts and sunflower seeds and a few pitted dates for natural sweetness. Add them all to a bowl and pour over them some boiled water. Soak them for at least 30 minutes to an hour to soften their structure for an easy blitz later on. Using raw nuts and seeds will give us more control over the taste of the end product and ensure that the milk is not rancid or salty, which would otherwise not be the case if they were salted or roasted. After that, take a few moments to sterilize the bowl, nut milk bag, storage container, and blender to ensure that our milk is clean and safe to drink. Fun fact, since I do not buy yogurt, I have experimented with this nut and seed milk blend several times to make homemade yogurt, and my goodness, it tastes phenomenal. If you'd like to see how I make that happen, please insert the word yogurt in the comments section. I want to take this time to welcome my newest subscribers. Y'all are a gem. I hope you get a chance to visit my channel page to see and save recipes you'd like to try out soon. And of course, make these recipes fun by adding your twist to them and making them with loved ones. Now, while these elements are soaking, we'll proceed to making our oat flour and mixed nut butter since they both take a few minutes to make. Ensure your hands are dry, especially if you plan to go back and forth with making these ingredients, to ensure that your dry ingredients are moisture free to maintain their integrity. Making our oat flour is simple. All you have to do is grind old-fashioned oats, not quick oats. You can do this by using a food processor or a coffee grinder like I'll be doing. Now, here are a few reasons to keep in mind on why it's important to make your own oat flour and other gluten-free flour blends in general. Making your own oat flour will reduce the chances of them interfering with wheat elements, especially if you subscribe to a gluten-free diet, since most industries that process oats tend to process wheat products. How easy was that, turning those oats into oat flour? See how quick that happened? It also turns out that buying oat flour is more expensive than buying old-fashioned oats. And honestly, like I said, it only takes a few minutes to blitz these into flour. So, for ease on our digestive systems and our pockets, I'd suggest you turn your tub of old-fashioned oats to flour and make your life easier. Most important of all, ensure that your oat package says gluten-free before you use it. Now, while you grind your oats, feel free to gauge the texture of the oat flour according to your preference and what you'll be using it for. And once you're done making a good amount of oat flour to last you a few weeks, store it. The best way to store oat flour, as well as with other flours and grains, is to keep them in your fridge so that their natural oil content will not be compromised due to changes in temperature within your environment. I've listed a few recipes below for this fluffy banana bread and tahini chocolate chunk cookies that uses only oat flour as the main flour ingredient, and they, in my opinion, don't even taste gluten-free at all, and it tastes superb. Here's a previous batch of oat flour I blended and used it to make fermented oat starter as you would a sourdough starter. Now, although it is rich in nutritional benefits and undoubtedly made my gluten-free pancakes fluffy, yes, it also breaks down the phytic acid in the oats. I produced a lot of gas and that wasn't cool at all. So I decided to only ferment for a day or two instead of a week, and that was a relief. Many of you mentioned that you used oat flour instead of cassava flour to make my viral gluten-free plantain flatbread, and my goodness, creative cooks, does that make me glad. So there's another way you can use this new ingredient. I'll leave a link below for you to make some too, because they're quite a hit. Next, we're going to churn these nuts into a dreamy nut butter to dress literally anything you desire, from a loaf of bread to a bowl of porridge for breakfast. You'll need a parchment-lined or silicone mat-lined baking sheet and a pound of raw mixed nuts. These mixed nuts are a combination of cashews, macadamia, and walnuts. Feel free to use this method to experiment with your nuts and seeds of choice. Spread the nuts on the lined baking sheet in an even layer and toast in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. You may also toast them in a clean stainless steel or cast iron skillet on the stovetop. This will help release their natural oils and give the nut butter a tasty, toasted flavor. After toasting them, allow them to cool for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're slightly warm to the touch, and you can also munch on them because they're quite tasty. Transfer to your food processor together with a pinch of fine sea salt and grind until smooth. Feel free to make them crunchy if you prefer. Since I started making my own nut and seed butter a few months ago, I literally stopped buying any from the stores. It reminds me of the times during my childhood when my mommy would have my sister and I assemble the grinder to make large batches of peanut butter, what we called groundnut paste or groundnut butter, to make damada, one of my favorite dishes, also known as groundnut soup. Those were some really good times. After you make these a few times, you will never go back to store-bought, because with yours, you know exactly what it's made of. Love, patience, and creativity. I love it. Be sure to scrape down the sides of the food processor just to make sure everything is incorporated well, and zhuzh it up for a few more minutes, and there you have it. Creamy mixed nut butter. The churning process should take about 5 to 10 minutes. Watching the magic happen is quite therapeutic, so I encourage you to just enjoy that process. Now, leaving any of this in the food processor will be considered a sin because it is so good. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up so that other viewers like you can easily find it through the magic of the YouTube algorithm. Thank you in advance. If there was no moisture involved during the making of this nut butter, as well as any seed butter that you make, it will do well if you leave it out in your pantry. If you want it to stay longer and fresher, keep it in your fridge. I'm going to use this nut butter to make one of my favorite porridge to have for breakfast. A quinoa and oatmeal porridge. It's a combination of cooked quinoa, oats, seeds, cinnamon, and this nut butter. Nutritious and gut-friendly, just right to start the day. You may find a full recipe in my cookbook, Eat Joyfully. I've included a link below for you to get your copy, which comes with a free weekly meal planner, which will be so helpful, especially with a busy work schedule. Serve this with fresh fruit like bananas or pears, and of course an extra drizzle of nut butter and a sprinkle of hemp seeds. Enjoy and be merry. Although it is intuitive to make these ingredients and have them on hand in anticipation of making our favorite recipes, I'm curious, would you prefer making your own or getting them from the store? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to it. Alright, back to the walnut sunflower milk. Let's open up the sterilized nut milk bag in preparation to strain the milk and drain the elements we soaked earlier. Now place the elements in a blender together with 750 ml of water and blend for about a minute or two, depending on the power of your blender. If you prefer to do this in your juicer, I believe it will work just fine. If you're familiar with Javant on healthy vegan eating, I hope I'm saying your name right. I see him doing this often, and his recent blueberry walnut milk turned out amazing. So I'd say give it a try in your juicer and let me know in the comments how it worked for you. Take a look at how gorgeous this milk looks already. If you don't have a juicer, gently pour your blended milk into the nut milk bag and put on gloves to reduce the chances of bacteria transfer to the finished product. I'll be using this milk together with the oat flour we made earlier in this video to make gluten-free donuts and cookies. So, come back next week to watch that episode because you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Normally, I discard the residue when I make nut and seed milk that has residue because the nutrients and flavor have been extracted. But if you choose to make good use of those residue, feel free to make something tasty with it. And let me know in the comments below what you come up with. If you're new to making plant milk, I have a playlist below with some of my most desirable plant-based milk, including cashew and almond milk. And in my cookbook, Eat Joyfully, you'll find my top favorite, coconut milk. And I hope you find them tasty and easy to cook with in all your favorite recipes. Store your fresh plant-based milk in a mason jar and keep refrigerated for 3 to 5 days. Separation is normal. Just shake the container well to redistribute the contents and use it as normal to make all your recipes that call for milk, from baking to making your favorite beverages. If you're in for a common treat that takes less than 5 minutes to make, I have listed my recipe video below for 3 cozy winter drinks that you can make tonight or sometime this week and share with a friend. The hot chocolate one is my favorite. I'm excited to hear yours in the comments. Alright, creative cooks, that's it for today on making your own ingredients. Let me know in the comments below which ones you're most familiar with, what you loved about this episode, and what you'd love to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and chat with you in my next episode. Take care of your healthy selves. Goodbye!